Hi, I have Trillium's newest Wild Ale in a little bottle for only $2.55 each. Following in the footsteps of their Dogtooth Violet is Dutchman's Breeches. So these are like some simple, stainless, fermented and aged wild ales using their native mixed culture. And I really liked Dogtooth Violet. That one was stronger, but this kind of series, I guess, I don't know if they have a name for it. They might. But they use some aged hops in it, which is influenced by lambic beers, where they would use aged hops in large amounts to help preserve the beers. You know, lambic beers, they can stay good longer than basically any other beer. Some lambic beers, can be good for 25, 30, 50 years if stored properly, like wine. So the aged hops have their own unique funkiness that I tend to like. They do use some CTZ, which is what they use to bitter all their beers. Basically, it's Columbus, Tomahawk, and Zeus. They're all kind of the same thing, so they just call them CTZ often at Trillium. So this is 4.9% alcohol. They just released it like last week, but it was bottled February 20th, so they let it, or maybe more than last week. But they let it bottle conditioned for 3 months. So it gets lots of nice natural carbonation and develops, a little bit, maybe more Brett Funk or something. Usually these are bottle conditioned with wine yeast or champagne yeast. So it's not like it's bottle conditioned with Brettanomyces, which is much more difficult to control. But I'm sure you can age these for years. And I actually bought 12 of them because I'm just assuming it's going to be great, because it sounds like it's just like Dogtooth Violet. And for a beer like this, fermented with a complex mixed culture, it's just, you never see them in little bottles for such a cheap price. So I had to just jump on it because this is kind of one of my favorite styles, basically like a little Brett Saison. I think describes it a little better, because American Wild Ale can mean a million things. Yeah, this is not oak aged. There's no fruit, so it's not like Trillium. A lot of Trillium is more popular. Soak series and Faded Farmer series, and there are other ones that are much more sour and assertive and much less funky. Yeah, that one is looking pretty good. Even though it's real hot, we got a nice head formation, and the carbonation isn't super duper crazy. But I bet as I age these throughout the summer, some of them will get very, very carbonated. And that just looks very nice. It smells a little bit more acidic than I would guess. And not super funky. But this is rather fresh. When I had Dogtooth Violet, that had been bottled well over a year before I drank it, I think. So it probably in the bottle developed some more Brett notes, because I'm getting a good amount of lemony lactic quality in this. Some musky hay notes. But it seems like the Brettanomyces has not gone totally wild. It's not barnyard quite yet. It smells ultra refreshing, very floral. Just a wildflower hayfield and some zippy lemon. Yeah, the aged hops come in a lot more actually in the flavor. It's not dank like fresh hops. Sometimes aged hops are described as cheesy. I don't know if I quite get that. Maybe it's more like a very, very light hint of mild blue cheese or something. But it really just adds some earthy complexity amidst all of the bright floral citrusy qualities. Pretty light on the tongue, but they do use white wheat and rolled oats, which rolled oats are literally just the oats we make oatmeal with. So that's adding some nice graininess and a little bit more body than you would get if it was just the Pilsner malt they use as the base. And it finishes, with herb, spice, very dry, but I'm not getting too much dryness, and I'm not getting medicinal phenols, chalky, bitter pill that sometimes you can get from wild ales, especially Brett beers that are really dry. I feel like this might develop that eventually, but I still want to try to age some of these bottles, and or maybe even buy more if I end up really liking them all. But this is just like my perfect summer beer in a way. It's basically a little Brett saison. I don't know. They didn't mention it. I think they just said they ferment it with their wild yeast culture, so it's not like they have a primary fermenting yeast like a saison yeast. But wild cultures tend to have, all sorts of yeasts, including Saccharomyces, which is your standard ale yeast. Saccharomyces cerevisiae, I should say. So that's going to give you a little bit more of your classic clean ale qualities. So it does have maybe a little bit of pear, a little bit of apricot-y, fruity ale stuff, in addition to all the lactobacillus, lemony tartness, and then your Brettanomyces, more funky qualities that haven't completely shown their face. But this is just effortless to drink, extremely refreshing, very complex, but very simple also in its ingredients. And it's total steal. Like this kind of beer, a wild ale that's not sour or fruited or barrel aged or something sexy thrown in there. A wild ale like this is not brewed by many breweries, and they master it. Like, this is better than a lot of their IPAs. Their IPA consistency is still not good, but this is just great. This is like a sleeper hit. I don't know. Most people are probably like, oh, underwhelming. They don't really understand it. Oh yeah. Now as it warms up, it's getting more funky aroma. Very ripe and near moldy peach almost, but not like peach rings or something like mosaic hops. Yeah, so I love about Brettanomyces is it brings in this funky, fruity quality, and I could just talk about these beers forever. And with this, if you want something more sour, blend this with your super sour, fruity kettle sour beer, and it'll get the complexity of aged funk Brettanomyces beer. Blend it with a saison a fresh saison if you want more fresh saison flavor. Like, that's why I love a lot of these ones, is you can blend them. You can even put a splash of IPA in here if you want to make it sort of a hoppy, funky wild ale. This is just masterfully done. This is there's 4.5 plus 4.75. I love this beer. I could have bought a full case of it, but I made myself just stick to 12. But I highly recommend this to everyone. Very, very nice beer. This series is impressing me with Trillium. It's making me return to Trillium more than their hoppy beers right now, honestly. Bye.